Hey everybody, and thanks for joining me again. I'm Glenn with GMP Travels, and we are doing part two of cruise tips and ideas. And following this one, I'm going to do a real short one, basically talking about gadgets, little things that's great for packing, help you pack, help you when you're on vacation. Doesn't have to be a cruise. This one, cruise tips, is obviously specifically about cruising. So we're going to get right into it. On the last one, I left off on dining, which is my favorite part of cruising. Today, we're going to start off with snacks. Simple. If you've traveled before, you get on a plane, you get these little crappy peanuts. And actually, I like the peanuts, but the little pretzels you get, especially on Southwest now, they suck. They do have some other snacks that are actually pretty good. And I'm glad to see that they're still handing those out. But we always bring either in a Ziploc bag from stuff we have at home, or we buy some snacks before we travel. It's nice to have those in your cabin as well when you're on a cruise ship, because even as much as you eat on the ship, sometimes you're sitting in a cabin. I might be waiting for my wife to get ready for dinner, and ladies always take a little bit longer, and that's okay. So I may be sitting there and I'm hungry. I maybe want to nibble on something, or when we get back in the cabin, if we get back a little early, we want to watch a movie in the cabin or something like that. We want something salty and crunchy. So we'll do snacks. And, we like cheeses, things like that. I know not the most healthy, but we do sometimes do trail mix, things like that, which, again, I love nuts and stuff. The M&Ms are obviously the best part of trail mix. Anyways, waters, I believe you can bring up to a case of bottled water on board, and they will test it to make sure that your water bottles aren't filled with vodka or some kind of alcohol. Anyway, and they'll take one of the bottles out of the case or randomly, and they'll shake it, and they can tell by how it foams up whether it's actually water. And they do that when you go in and out of port as well, by the way. So it's nice to have your own water in the cabin. It's nice to not have to pay the prices for water in the cabin. Now, if you're on the drink package, it doesn't matter which line. Normally, you can get bottled water at the bar. I do, and I bring it back to the cabin. I'm not cheap. I do buy bottled water in the cabin sometimes too. They have the big bottles, the 3-something. It's not cheap, but it's not hugely expensive. And we'll do probably three or four of those through the week, a 1 week cruise. And every cruise line is different price. So, you weigh that, do your research before you go on a cruise. Read reviews, read people's tips about that specific ship. And you can always ask people, like on YouTube. Like here, you can ask me questions if you want, and I'm happy to answer. So, next up is apps. The phones have an app on them, or the cruise ship. Most of them now have an app for on the ship. Sorry, getting a little ahead of myself. So, I normally would put my phone in the safe and not carry it around, but my phone right now has such a good camera that I'll take a lot of pictures with it. But you can also connect to the app without having purchased a Wi-Fi package. So if you don't want to spend the money, or you don't get Wi-Fi as a perk on the ship, you can connect to the ship's app through the Wi-Fi without paying for Wi-Fi. It's free. They'll let you go to their website for free as well. So in case you want to book another cruise while you're on the cruise. But their apps are great. Here's a couple pictures. One was from Carnival. It's called Carnival Hub, and the other one is from Celebrity. In the pictures, neither of them show anything because I'm not on a ship and not connected to their network. So once you are and you're logged in, you'll be able to see dining times. You'll be able to see shows, reserve shows if they require it. I like the ships that have first come, first serve for shows. Excuse me, spring allergies again. So the app's important. It's a really good tool when you get on there. You can see what you're spending on the ship and a lot of other things. And each ship or each cruise line has a different type of app. Some are better, some are not. Some are not worth even looking at, and I'm not going to say who they are. You can figure that out when you get on the ship. Anyways, so definitely worth it. Electronics. Your cameras, if you're like me, I love to take pictures, and now doing a YouTube channel, I'm more inclined now to, when we start cruising again, to use my drone, use my video camera, use my GoPro. My GoPro a lot more because we do beach and things like that, and I love getting video and pictures, especially underwater, with my GoPro. I have a Hero 5. I think they're up to 8 or 9 now, and I'm not certain what the difference is from one model to the next, but my Hero 5 is sufficient for me. Now, with that said, doing YouTube channel, I may do a little more research and find out, because maybe the Hero 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever they're up to can offer something more than what I have now to give me a better content for my channel. So cameras, GoPro, electronics. I do have a drone. My wife got me a Mavic Mini, not this past Christmas, the Christmas before, and I absolutely love it. I've flown it literally probably 5 times. We took it on our last cruise, February of 2020, just before COVID hit. And the only island I was going to bring it in and fly it on was MSC's private island, which they built out. Excuse me. Beautiful island, and other people have flown the drones there, so I know you can, or you can, and they haven't stopped them. So I was going to fly it there on our last cruise. It was too windy for them to be able to dock, and so we had to skip the island and make it a sea day. So I didn't get to fly it on the first cruise. I cruised with it, and I will bring it on the next one. It is a mini, so it doesn't have to be licensed or registered with the FAA, and it's just under weight, so they consider it a toy drone. It's not. It gets 2.8K video, not 4K, 2.8, but it's just under weight where you would have to register it as a remote aircraft. So that's one thing I love about it. The other thing I wished it had was obstacle avoidance, where if there's a tree in the way, most more expensive drones will fly around it. This drone's between $400 and $500. It depends on what you get with it. If you get the extra battery and you get the bigger charger kit and other things like that, you're more on the 500 side. Otherwise, what I have is more at the 400 side. Definitely going to be worth it once I can start using it. I did fly it around here and around some parks and along the river, and got some pretty good video footage from it. I didn't keep it because it was winter. It was a nice day during winter, but it was winter and there was no tree or no leaves and stuff like that. So coming up here soon, spring, I'm going to fly it in some parks and see if I get some really good video. Meds. Extremely important that if you take medication, that you make sure that you pack enough for the cruise plus. Excuse me. I'm sorry. We went on a 4-day cruise years ago. I don't do those anymore. Minimum 7-day cruise. It's not worth it spending the money for the hotels, for the flights from Ohio to do a 4-day cruise. At least not for us. I might do a 4-day cruise, but then also maybe stay at a hotel in Fort Lauderdale or Miami or something like that and spend some days on the beach there. But that would be the only way I would do a 4-day cruise. Most of them 7-day cruise. So we were on a 4-day cruise once during Hurricane Wilma. It was on the Carnival Imagination. It was such a great ship. It's as I mentioned in my last video, it has since been scrapped. But it was a great ship. Been on it 3 times technically, twice during Hurricane Wilma. So we did the 4-day cruise. Hurricane went through South Florida. We ended up having to stay out at sea a couple extra days, so our 4-day turned into a 6-day. By the time we got into port, the airports were still closed, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. No power, so hotels were gouging whatever when they did have power, typically by generator. and those were not readily available either. Renting a car wasn't going to happen. So Carnival offered for us to stay on the ship for an extra $100 per person for the next 3 days, which would bring it then back for the next cruise. It's going to miss a cruise in between there. So they offered us to stay on. We did that. We had the freedom to do that. Excuse me. Once we got back on board, because we did have to disembark, get our luggage off, and then bring our luggage back on because they gave us all new cabins and so forth. And by the time we came back on board, we got a $50 credit each. So literally for $50, we stayed an extra 3 days on the ship, all the food paid for. We did go back out to the Bahamas. I'm not certain if we did both Nassau and Freeport. I think we may have just done Freeport. It's been a long time. 2005, I believe, was Hurricane Wilma. So, but it was definitely worth it. Think about it, $50 per person. That's your hotel basically for 3 days and all your meals and entertainment. So it was a no-brainer for us. We could do that. We weren't getting home anyways. So, but the point is, getting back to the meds, if you only bring enough for a 4-day cruise and something like that happens, then you need your meds to survive. You're in trouble. Now they do have a doctor's office on board where you can probably get these meds if you have to, but they're expensive. So, anyways, bring your meds. The other meds I'm talking about is your aspirin, ibuprofen. Your everyday stuff. For me, I need Afrin. It helps me breathe at night when I'm sleeping. Benadryl, anything you may need while you're on a cruise. Cough drops, very important. Earplugs, and I'll talk about those in the gadgets too. Things like earplugs, but meds are important. Think about what you need. What you need at home are going to be the same thing you're going to need when you're on a ship. Sales on ships. Here's a tip. Don't go on the first day and start buying everything for grandkids or kids or friends or employees, things like that. If you're buying t-shirts, things like that, wait till the next to last day or the last day. Usually the last sea day, they have tremendous sales. You get 2 shirts for like $10 or $15. So if you're into saving money, you're on a budget, wait on those. Watch for those sales. If you're into jewelry, they have special sales through the week, usually on sea days, where they may sell, chains by the foot. My wife loves those, and we wait until they have a gold chain day and the silver day or whatever, and then she'll buy those. So anyway, sales on the ship. Watch for those. Find out. Ask people when you get on the ship. Alcohol, you can buy alcohol on the ship. You will not get it when you buy it. They will give it to you the night before you disembark. Sometimes you have to pick it up in the morning, depends on the cruise line. You pick it up in the morning before you leave the ship. Most of the time it's the night before. And you're welcome to drink it. If you want to drink it all the night before you get off, that's fine. So there's also alcohol packages or beverage packages. I think almost all the lines now have that as a perk to book. Carnival just started it. They had beverage packages before you had to pay for it. And I'm sure you're paying for it through the cruise price, but Carnival's offering that now. And usually they have different levels of drink packages. They'll have a minimum one that may suit your needs. You may find they have the beer and the wine that you like, or they have some of the alcohols you like. Celebrities, lowest package, I think it's not the elite, maybe the choice. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up, and maybe I'll put it down here in words. But theirs was perfect for me. It was fine. It had most everything that I liked, beer, wine, and liquor wise. And MSC's lowest package is I can live with it. It's well alcohols like your rums and vodkas, things like that. So alcohol, if you have any questions about that, ask me in the comment section. So places to get reviews. obviously, YouTube is a great place for reviews of a specific ship that you're getting ready to go on. Or if you're interested in booking a ship, keep in mind, since COVID, all these ships have been, basically grounded at a stop for over a year now, or yeah, about a year. So what reviews you may see on, the MSC Meraviglia, like mine, it's going to get a different crew. And I'm not certain about the officers and the captain and stuff like that, so I'm not certain if any of that has changed either. And typically the ship operates how it's run by the captain and by the officers. So if it's still the same officers, you may have still the same experience that you had before COVID. And if it was a great experience, great, you're probably going to love it. If you didn't like the ship, you may not. But there is that change. It's going to be all new crews, different people. So if you're one of the first few people actually going on a cruise, I kind of feel sorry for you, because it's going to be different. There's an acclimation period for the crew getting used to things, and service tends to lack a little bit when a ship first starts going again. So just some thoughts. Anyways, so there's places where you can also go for reviews, Cruise Critic, things like that. Cruise Critic, I was into back in 2003 when we first started cruising, actually 2004. And you get a lot of information there. You can go on a roll call, find the date and the ship that you're going to be on, and you can actually introduce yourself to other people who are going on the ship. And sometimes they have a Cruise Critic party on the ship. A lot of the ships know that. You get drinks, like you pay maybe $11 or $12 per person for that hour, and you get as many drinks as you want and snacks in that hour period of time. So that's another avenue. There's a lot of them out there, and again, YouTube is a great one for cruise reviews. Irons are a no-no. Do not bring your home iron or travel iron on board. They will confiscate it if they do see it in security. I've heard of people getting it on board, but 99% of the time they see it, they confiscate it, you get called down to the naughty room. So Carnival has ironing rooms or laundry rooms. Some of them are just ironing stations, which are awesome. I'll go down the first sea day, go down, iron a bunch of stuff, so I'm done for the week. We do carry a steamer. Some cruise lines don't allow it on. You'll have to do some checking before you actually sail. I've been on 3 cruises with our steamer now, and all 3 of them are different lines, and have not had it taken away. And maybe I got lucky. But the steamer's great. It does get all the wrinkles out in your room. Shows, don't miss shows. I'm telling you right now, it's a cruise tip that you will love that I shared this. Some people think that they're Broadway shows or cheesy. Usually they have very good singers. They have very good dancers on the ships. And their shows typically run about every 2 years. So what you see today, in a year and a half, you may see the same show. Doesn't matter which ship you go on. I mean, as far as within the same line, like all on Carnival, they all do their own shows. In 2 years, they're going to switch. So in the first 2 years, they run it's expensive, obviously, to set these shows up. So they're going to run these shows for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, they'll change it. And in those 2 years, they have been producing the next show and teaching dancers and singers and so forth. So how to pack. Okay. Here. I was going to say this is my wife, but she told me not to say this was my wife packing. She goes, sorta. My wife has transitioned to packing cubes, and on my gadgets, that's packing cubes are going to be in the gadgets. That's my next video coming up. So she has a lot of small stuff, the undergarments and the socks and all the stuff women have. And so packing cubes have saved her from having that where everything's kind of hanging out. She's trying to get it zipped up. Uh, Keep in mind, most airlines, or at least Southwest, is 50 pounds. Most of them are 40 pounds. Um, so in one of my gadgets, I'm going to show you the a scale. Hugely important. It's small, lightweight, it's easy to carry. It's been very, very accurate and uh, great to have, because once you pack for your cruise to go on your cruise, you'll know whether you're underweight or overweight before you even leave home. And when you leave your cabin to come back and fly back home, you know whether you're overweight or underweight. There's nothing, I think, more, there's a lot of things more embarrassing, but it's pretty embarrassing when they tell you you're overweight and you got to put your bags down and try and shift stuff around to stay underweight. Some of them, you know what, if you're a pound or two overweight, some of them just, they don't care. They'll let it go through. But if you're overweight, typically they'll charge you, especially if you're very overweight. So packing cubes, very important. Here's a big tip that you really, really, really need to pay attention to. Do not put your birth certificate or your passport, those are one of the two things you need to get on a cruise ship. Do not put them in your checked luggage. Airlines lose bags, cruise ships lose bags. We haven't lost a bag on the airline. We had one that got held up in Florida, and it came on the next flight, so we had to go back to the airport the next day and pick it up. Actually, no, it was dropped off at our house. So I'm sorry, it was dropped off at our house. Could you imagine I left my car keys in my checked luggage when we got home or to the airport and found out my bags weren't arriving until the next day? Yeah, I mean, not a huge deal. I would have Ubered, but I would have had to pay for the Uber. I would have had to pay for an additional day of parking. So, but you're not getting on the ship without your passport or without your birth certificate. And if you put it in your checked luggage and the airline loses your bag going down, you got major problems. You're not getting on the ship more than likely. So think about that. Kids on board, there's all kinds of stuff for kids to do. I always talk about Disney. Disney is a great cruise line, but it's very expensive. So if you're taking your kids on a cruise to enjoy the islands, enjoy the pools and things like that, enjoy the water slides, Carnival's got a great kids program, and I think Norwegian does too. Most of them do. I think Celebrity may not. I know they have games and stuff like that, but they don't have water parks. So if you're traveling with kids, do your research in advance on what you want. If you don't mind spending 3 times the amount for a cruise, then by all means go on Disney. Again, I heard they're great. People go on them, love them. We have friends that have gone on Disney cruises and loved them. And the kids have a great Disney experience. But me, I wouldn't. Camp Carnival on Carnival, I don't know if it's called Camp Carnival anymore, but it used to be called Camp Carnival. Had a great program for kids. Kids didn't want to leave. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the casinos. Some casinos are smoke-free now. I love that. I used to smoke. Smoke in the area doesn't bother me. Doesn't make me want to run out and buy a pack of cigarettes. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to go to the casino, spend a couple hours in there, go back and, my clothes that I might wear a shirt a second time to dinner smells like smoke. And so the Carnival, I think, is port or seaside, starboard side is smoke-free. One side smoke-free, one's not. Unfortunately, the last Carnival we did, the machine my wife likes the most was on the smoking side. So we smelled like smoke. Celebrity was smoke-free. Loved that. MSC, you can smoke anywhere in the casino. You pick and choose. If you don't mind and want to go to the casino and you understand that they're smoking there, by all means, enjoy yourself. If you don't like to smoke, then don't gamble, or maybe go earlier in the morning when there's not that many people there, or sometimes later in the evening. But so anyways, that's it on cruise tips. My next one, this one was a little short. My next one is going to be about cruise gadgets. I'm doing that right after this one, so I'm going to be wearing the same clothes. So sorry. Anyways, questions, ask them below. If you have some ideas or want to offer up some extra advice for people watching these videos, please share in the comments. Please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when I have another show coming out. Again, the next one's going to be gadgets and kind of a tips gadget. We might call that part 3 to tips. Have a great day. We'll see you back here. Thank you.